Len Schneider.
Are you going to be the commentator?
I'm going to be the commentator. How are you?
I'm
How
good.
You
How are
been?
you, Jim?
I'm good. Have you ever met George?
I've not.
George right here. George Wright.
Wanted to meet you a long time ago. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So,
What about
so
him?
and this is Joe.
Don't worry
everybody
about
everybody
me.
knows
Don't worry
Joe.
about
Joe's
me.
doing the camera.
I'm the camera
So,
guy.
anyway, so this is might be long. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm just winging it here, so you know that's how Len likes it anyway. So many years ago, believe it or not, Mike Bastelli built me a car similar to what Len's driving today. It was actually it was a '78 Mercury Zephyr. They call it a Fairmont, of course. And GT rules was 1980 and newer, so we just claimed it an 80, and we put a Cleveland in it. I mean, George and Mike were all running Clevelands, and they got me got my juices flowing to run a Cleveland. So I put a Cleveland in that car with a stick. Well, of course, I have no money. That didn't work that well, right? I mean, we did a little bit. Well, then I put an automatic in it. Of course, the C4 was the hot ticket, right? So we put a C4 in it. And I go to the racetrack, and I got a good converter in this thing, and I'm at Detroit Dragway, and I can't get this thing with drum brakes over 2,200 RPM on the foot brake. And I know the converter's good for 5,000, you know? So I'm thinking to myself, I'm reading National Dragster, and this guy, Len Schneider on the West Coast, is killing it with a T-Bird, which happens to be the same car as right here behind us. And he's not only going rounds, but this guy's wheels in the air, the car's fast. It was just like, who is this guy? What is going on here, you know? So I'm pretty sure this was around the era of 1985, 86.
5 or 6.
So we're thinking it was Slickavere.
John Slickavere.
John Slickavere. I'm sure some of you know John Slickavere, know of his name from the past. I think it was Slickavere that said, oh, you can call Len Schneider, he's cool. Call him and see how he's doing it. He'll help you out. So I got the number from Slickavere. I called Hayward, California, and Len Schneider answered the phone. And I don't know, I enjoyed talking to him. I mean, I was just a kid. I was like I said, 1985. I don't even know how old I was. I wasn't even 30 years old. Probably 29 years old at the time. And Len was very helpful back then. So of course time went on, and we lost touch. I had no reason really to bother him anymore, but I really enjoyed talking to him, and now we end up coming out here, and I know the racers on our side of the country, let's call it, right? Because, you know, you guys are in the West Coast, you're in your own little, I got your own rule book and everything, they say. Is that true? Something like that. I heard that, I don't know. But anyway, Division 7 is what I'm saying. I'm really enjoying it out here, so you know, I mean, it's great. But I noticed now, Len worked, I don't know what he did. What'd you do?
I was auto mechanic.
He was just auto mechanic. Okay. Anyway, but I noticed it's got Schneider Performance on his car, right? Get this now? So in his elderly years, it's kind of funny how this all works, but in his elderly years, he's actually tight with Joel. Do you guys know Joel? Joel's on Joy? I mean, Joel does a lot of the shootout transmissions. He did all the transmissions for the Cobra Jets. He did transmissions for the supercharged drag packs that were all built at Watson. Joel did all those transmissions, believe it or not, of the automatics. And him and Joel and Len have been talking over the years. I don't know how they got together.
Bill, because of you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But regardless, but these transmission guys, I noticed at PRI, Joel's all about it. You know, he gets with whoever, all these different transmission guys kind of like, you know, get together and they just carry on. You know, they don't even care about the PRI show. They just, you know, so it's a good thing. So all these transmission guys, as far as NHRA or drag racing in general, get together, and for whatever, Len is part of this. So Len, I guess, I don't know what your whole business is, but I know a lot of it is torque converters. So if you guys don't know this in the rest of the divisions, but in Division 7, everywhere I look, there's a car that says Schneider Performance on the back. So he's obviously helping a lot of stock and super stock racers. Is that true?
That's
Can we
what
say
I like
that?
to do. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I like to do.
Okay, good. All right, so we got all that. I don't know how that was going to come out, but I had to get all that out just to say hey.
Pretty
all right,
cool.
all right. You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so here we are. We're at Pomona. These guys in super stock are going into the 4th round here. It's Saturday. Going into Saturday evening, and of course, Len Schneider's one of them. Just when I used to read the National Dragster in the early 80s, and there's his name, win when I come out here and I can watch it live. It's great. So, and the same car. So, tell us about the car, Len.
I got this car from Budget Rent-A-Car when they announced that they were going to create this GT class. I got it from Budget Rent-A-Car in the fall of 1983, and I was at the first Winter Nationals in '84 when the first 8 cars were there. This was one of them. It was not very nice in the beginning. Didn't run very good. It didn't look very good.
Right.
And but I've been working with the same stuff for all this time, and have managed to get it refined where it works pretty good. And
so where did it come? So your first car?
I had a '69 Mustang Stalker before this.
Okay, what engine was in that?
428.
Okay.
And it seemed like a long time, but it was only from '77 to '84. I ran both cars.
So what? I mean, you went to a dramatic change with the Cleveland. What made you go to the Cleveland?
Well, I tried the 428 in Super Stock at first, but I didn't know anything about what I was doing, and I just killed parts like crazy.
Yeah.
So, actually, one of the old-time racers, Steve Steele, who just passed away not very long ago, was talking about. He says, you know, I think for that class, he says, I think that '72 Cobra Jet 351 looks like a pretty good deal on paper.
Yeah.
So I started with that.
Like 300 horse, or what is it?
It was 305.
305. Okay.
And actually, it might not have been 305 then.
280.
Well, it's a 266 horse motor, but
there you go. Original. Yeah.
But it was up. It was factored up. So in the beginning, like you hear about Cleveland's, and especially before ported head rules, it took a long time to make it leave. It was just.
So, is this how you got into the torque converter?
Well, I was doing converters before, but and I started doing converters full time. I quit my regular job in '88, and have done that since '88.
Okay, wow.
But the converter story, how I got into that, is actually a really long one. But
all right, let's stick with the car for now.
Okay. Yeah. By this time, I knew what I was doing pretty much, except that, but you could do mainstream stuff for mainstream motors and it would work. We tried it on this and it didn't work. So it took a long time to get, people would come and say, you need to do something about the way that car leaves. So if I knew what to do, I'd do it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But eventually, it got pretty good. Right. And so now it's to the point where I'm refining, polishing the small stuff now, because it's pretty hard to find anything big. But
and okay, so he's got this Cleveland in there from 1985.
Yeah.
And this weekend at the Winter Nationals, he was number 4 qualifier with this car. So it's pretty outstanding that you have kept it up and still fast.
Really
right now.
With all the controversies about horsepowers and everybody trying to protect junk and all that, we like going fast.
Yeah.
So we try to run what we can run, and
great.
I'm proud of what we have.
Sure, absolutely. Very good. All right. So then how'd the converter thing come in then?
I bracket raced in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I won the track championship.
What track?
Fremont Racing.
Okay.
So the fella that sponsored the track championship, we got quite a bit of money for a local little kid.
Yeah.
Bracket racing to make very much money was unheard of,
Yeah.
And so at the end of the season, the guy said, would you be interested in, I'd like to work with a car for a year. I had a Falcon bracket car with an FE in it, and if you would be willing to work with us for a year, I will pay all the bills. Well, when you're a young man, that's like music to your ears. You bought my tires, my gas, the entry fees,
absolutely.
Everything. But he wanted to do the motor work. Well, that was not so good sometimes. But he bought. I figured out how to make other stuff work. I figured out how to make that 71 Cobra Jet 351 Cleveland converter work with an FE, and it was way better than anything else that I ever had. But it was just a stock converter, but they were pretty good.
Yeah.
So he said, well, that converter's not good enough. We need to buy a 8-inch aftermarket converter, and that thing spent more time in the mail than it ever did in the car. It broke all the time.
Oh.
So after our year deal was up, I said, well, I got to find out what breaks in these things. And when I cut this thing open, it was just junk inside there. So I thought, well, how hard can this be? So a couple of my friends knew some guys that I didn't know personally, but they did transmission and converter rebuilding. And they said, if you want some help, if you want to try to do something, we can give you a start and all that. So I did one initially, and it lasted like 4 runs, then it broke. Yeah. So I did another, I saw what broke. and did something about that. Second one lasted about 20 months, and then I never ever broke another one.
Nice.
After that, I never broke another one. So
Nice.
then guys started asking me. I wasn't interested in doing anything for anybody else, but guys started asking me.
Oh, and I'm not. This isn't an ad because he's overwhelmed already. If I'm thinking correctly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know some people would probably want to get some converters work done from Len, but trust me, he's good.
I'm trying to retire. Actually,
he's trying to retire. So it's one of those deals.
Yeah.
It's similar to Joel.
So,
similar to Joel.
Yeah. It's so funny because we do have a lot of things in common when we talk.
Right.
And he's just like me. When we talk for a long time.
Yeah. But, good.
I've never met Joel in person, and I consider him one of my best friends.
That's great.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool.
But it was the same with you. I had never, even though you probably don't remember as much, but we talked a lot in the 80s.
Yeah.
But then I never got a chance to meet Jimmy in person until the 2010 Winter Nationals when he came out here, and that I really meant a lot to me.
All I remember is it was the most common sense thing you told me to get my car to leave. He says, "Does it still got the proportioning valve on it? Just get rid of that thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." As soon as I did, boy, I could hold the brakes. It had drum brakes on the back, you know. I could hold the brakes, 4,800. It was good. So,
it was basically
it was a simple
same
thing, you know, just common sense. But it was great. Now people just don't know, so appreciate it.
I get that today.
Oh yeah.
Guys, stockers will tell me that the converter is installed as high as they wanted it to. And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And they said, "Well, it moves when I try to give it gas." I said, "Well, the converter's job is trying to make the car move.
It's trying to move. Yeah.
If you don't want it to, you got to do something to stop it from moving, you know."
Exactly.
So,
all right, very good. So you're here with your lovely wife, Debbie, and she's busy up there doing paperwork, preparing for the next round. I'm sure she's the
genius in this operation.
Yeah.
I'm the weak link. The car's pretty good, and she's really good.
Good.
I'm the weak link in this deal.
Good. No, I'm probably not true what you just said, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm sure she's strong, and you're just as strong. So, all good. All right, sir. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Pleasure meeting you too, Joe. Yeah. Well, I like all the show car kind of stuff, but I can't do it. I can't do it and keep it running, so this is what I have.
Okay, very good.
So this is an open chamber?
Yeah. 8.8 compression.
Well, it's a natural thing. It's easy to talk
It's what you tell it to do, right?
Oh, did you have 2,000 red light or something? Oh, what? Oh.
What would she have to go behind? So, Plus West, 95.
Marketing department for the Basic Light Traders. walk-through drag racing. Get ready for the semifinals.
Came here. He won here in 18. He won here in 21. And he won the finals in 22. I do believe he likes this boy.